Welcome back, everyone, to the Buccos podcast. I'm Nathan. I'm here with Jim Rosati of North Shore 9. We're kind of doing like the little cross-brand promotional because I've been doing some work over on their channel, so go check it out, North Shore 9 on YouTube, all their socials. Today, draft recap show. So I didn't really do a preview because there wasn't really anything really to preview with the MLB draft just because of the top 10. You kind of know who's going top 10. I mean, there was the surprise with the Angels, their guy they picked at number 2 overall. He'll probably be in the big leagues in like a month or two. So that's probably why they did that. But the Pittsburgh Pirates had a very, in my opinion, I think a lot of people's opinions, a very underrated draft. I've seen a lot of people, like national guys, rank this as one of the best draft classes just because of the guy they landed at number 6, who for a long time could have been number 1, could have been number 2. I thought he was going to the Mariners at number 3, but Seth Hernandez drops to number 6. What I would say is the shock of the draft. Literally, you go on social media, everyone's like, how did he fall to the Pirates? There are Reds fans saying, you've got to be kidding me. All these fans across social media are like, how did this happen? Jim, I'll go to you first. What were your thoughts about this one?
So I had a pretty good idea he was going to be there, just based off of, talking with some draft people, looking at the mock drafts. It looked like a lot of teams were going to stay away from just the high school arm and go with maybe something a little bit safer, like the college arms or college bats. And yeah, that's how it played out. The Pirates had their choice of Seth Hernandez, of some pretty good players at that number 6 spot. And Seth Hernandez, definitely the most talented and the toolsiest of all of the available players. And I think Jim Callis mentioned it, but last year the Pirates lucked into essentially the toolsiest player in the draft at number 9 with Connor Griffin, and this year they come back and they take Seth Hernandez at number 6. So back-to-back drafts, you could argue the Pirates took the most talented player available in the entire draft.
You could also say back-to-back drafts, the best high school player basically off the board. Hernandez, 19 years old. And there's this whole debate on social media, and if you guys explained it too, it's like everyone was like, they should have drafted a hitter. My thing with the MLB draft is, personally, I said in our group chats all the time, it was like, I would have drafted Ivo Arquette, but if Seth Hernandez was there, he's the pick. You cannot pass up on the upside of a Seth Hernandez. Like, pipeline, 70 fastball, 60 curveball. The fastball is going to play. He can basically be he's already being compared to like the high school, like best high school prospects in recent memory when it comes to pitchers. Like, you think of the last one at the top of my head was Hunter Green of the Cincinnati Reds. Look what he has become with the Cincinnati Reds. He is a nuisance to play against. Every single 5 days the Pirates would play them. Whenever I look at Seth Hernandez, this guy is just exciting. 6'4". He is going to be a right-handed pitcher, 6'4", that is. He is committed to Vanderbilt, so I feel like they're going to have to give him a hefty, good bit of slot money to make sure he's going to be here. I think they're not going to have a problem with that. If they're so comfortable with him going there, there's not going to be a worry with that. But I mean, this is probably a guy Vanderbilt's going to hate losing. I mean, I would hate to lose this arm if you're a top college like Vanderbilt when it comes to the NCAA. But it's like, this was the pick. I understand the whole, they should have went Arquette because he's a college bat, probably the best college bat in the draft. But the thing is, he wasn't probably going to be up maybe till 2027. And if you think about that, 2027, you might have a lockout. So where's Arquette actually going to be coming up? I also wouldn't trust the Pirates to be able to develop an Ivo Arquette. But I mean, Seth Hernandez was the pick. Any thoughts on this whole should have drafted a hitter type of debate people are having?
Yeah, I think it's just, you look at other sports, right? Especially, I mean, let's talk NFL draft. NFL draft is a show. Everyone talks about it for months. It's this spectacle. Everybody knows what their team is looking for. They've done months and months of mock drafts. Baseball is just not like that. In the NFL, you have a pretty good idea of who the player is when you take them. In baseball, it's all just it's just projections at this point. Like, this is a guy, he's a high schooler. He's never played guys above the age of 18 years old. A lot of the college kids, again, like these, you have no idea how really any of these guys are going to translate to professional ball. you're just projecting at this point. And so when you're dealing with projections like that, just anything can happen. And so as opposed to the NFL where it's like, oh, well, we need a cornerback. So we should go out there and draft the best corner that's available when we're picking. And it's just an easy fit, right? Because you can just plug them in a corner come training camp and boom, you've solved your roster issue. Baseball is just not like that. Like you if you have a need on your team, you can't solve it immediately by drafting somebody. So yeah, I mean, the fans will always say they need hitting, they need hitting, they need hitting, or they need pitching, they need pitching, they need pitching. That's what we should go after. There's not a single person in the industry who thinks like that. Everyone just picks the guy who they feel like is the best player at that time. There's some nuance involved too. Like I said, you mentioned it earlier. Like the Angels are just going to draft the guys who they think are going to get to the majors as soon as possible. But for the most part, you're always picking the guy who you think is best, and that's what the Pirates did in this draft. And they did it not just in round 1, but they did it in round 2. They did it in round 3, and they did it kind of the entire way down. We'll get to the later picks, but you can tell just kind of throughout this draft that was their mindset was, hey, who's the best guy out there, and whoever it is, let's go get him.
Yeah, I agree. Like I completely understand the anger of fans is saying, "Where's the bats?" Well, like I said, the bat, and you said it perfectly. These guys, it's a crapshoot in the MLB draft. You don't know if half these guys are actually going to develop into anything of substance in the major leagues. If you think about it, the best bat that Ben has developed out of a draft has been Nick Gonzalez so far. I would love it to be Henry Davis, but right now it is Nicky G. When you look at Seth Hernandez, this was the perfect pick. Like it's an A+ for me, and we'll give our overall thoughts at the end. But moving on to any final thoughts about Hernandez before we move on to the other day ones?
No, I mean, I think he was the best player in the draft.
Yeah, I completely agree.
The fact that the Pirates got him at number 6 it's a win. And you look at the Pirates' track record developing pitchers like this, and it's sort of a match made in heaven.
When you saw him fall to the Pirates, it was like they have to pick him. Moving on, though, night 1 kept going on. Social media was ablaze saying, "Where's our hitters? Where's our hitters?" And the Pirates did the funniest thing possible to a lot of people, and me too, because it was like, this was just hilarious. They get another high school prep pitcher. I think he's also one of the youngest players in the draft, 17-year-old Angel Cervantes out of Warren, California. 6'3", 195, a right-handed pitcher. Fastball grades out at a 55 on Pipeline. He was ranked the 49th best prospect via MLB Pipeline. They drafted him at pick 50. He is committed to UCLA, so this is going to be another one of those interesting can you get him type of things. I think they are going to get him because you would think, and I know you guys had Murphy on your draft show, and he loved this pick. I think he said this was like these were his top 2 pitchers in the draft, in his opinion, like young pitcher wise. I like it. He has a low to mid 90s fastball, a changeup, which some describe as his best pitch, and a few breaking pitches, including the curve and slider. I like this one. I know a lot of people were like, "Where's our hitter?" And we'll get to that one next. But it's like I think, went 2 for 2 on these high school arms, and they were this was a draft, in my opinion, was like, we are building for, this is the perfect, we're building for years down the road, not now. We're trying to make sure this pitching depth stays strong, because you think if you trade Mitch Keller, and this isn't going to be like a trade show, but it's like you're going to need these arms in your organization, because like you can't quickly make a strength become a very big weakness. Like if you trade a Harrington, a Barco, a Chandler, a Keller, like it could quickly become a dumpster, like if you think about it. So like you're replenishing Cervantes, you're replenishing a Hernandez, and Hernandez is probably going to slot easily and maybe their second best guy behind Connor Griffin, because Bubba's going to be getting the promotion soon. So what do you think about Cervantes here?
Similar to Hernandez in that when it comes to pitchers, especially young arms like this, the hardest thing to develop and perfect is a changeup. Like that's the hardest pitch to throw for any pitcher. And I think what makes these two special, both Hernandez and Cervantes, is that they both have really good changeups that they control at such a young age. That's what makes it so impressive, because the other stuff, the fastballs, the sliders, the curveballs, those can all be developed and refined and tweaked and perfected, over time. The changeup is something that is just much more difficult. I mean, you have major leaguers who have been pitching for years and years and years, and they still can't command their changeup very well. So the fact that these two pitchers have that already in their arsenal at such a young age kind of put them a step ahead of all the other high school arms out there. And you can tell that the Pirates, I mean, they like that obviously with these first two picks. I said a changeup is the neutralizer. That's what you use as a pitcher, especially against opposite-handed batters, to really counter that lefty righty split advantage that they have. So like I said, that's what struck out to me about Hernandez was the changeup, but then Cervantes going right back to that well where, hey, let's get this young arm. It's a good arm, it's projectable again, 6'3", 200 pounds, but already sports that really good changeup. And so now they can refine the other pitches around that changeup. And both of these guys have the arsenal already to where it's like they're starting pitchers. Like these are starting pitching prospects. You're not really thinking about relief risk at this point. Like these guys are built to be starters.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm like curious where he's going to slot in when the top prospect rankings of the Pirates come in with these new draftees. I'm curious where Baseball America, where Pipeline is actually going to put Cervantes. I don't know if he might crack the top 10, maybe like 9th or 10th, but like with how much pitching the Pirates have in the minor leagues now, it's going to be interesting to see how they compare a 17-year-old to those guys. Because you would think Hernandez is the prize of this draft. He's going to be at least top 3. He should be. But when it comes to Cervantes, this is a great pick as well. I know people wanted their bat, and let's get to that bat. Third baseman Murf Gray, great baseball name in my opinion. I can hear Greg Brown saying something about Murf already and hitting a ball into the Allegheny. But yeah, competitive balance round B. There's all these weird competitive balance rounds. Pick 73 overall. Baseball America had him ranked 141st. So this is kind of where the draft starts getting weird. Teams start drafting guys a lot earlier than what they're ranked just because of slot money. Murf Gray, third baseman out of Fresno State, a right-hander, 21 years old, 6'4", 230. His hit total 45, power 50, arm 60. But fielding 45 grade. He's an overall 45 grade player on Pipeline. The scouts love his arm. They think he can stay at third base because he has an arm, but he doesn't have the greatest amount of speed, which could eventually prompt a move to first base or a possible corner outfield spot. Last year, he hit 10 home runs and a .504 slugging percentage as a sophomore. So Murf Gray, I'm intrigued by him. I think he has the potential. Like we all fell in love. Remember Charles McAdoo for some reason? We all fell in love with this guy. I think this is going to be that prospect just because the name alone, not being funny, but like this is a guy I'm rooting for. I see third base. You think of the hole they have at third base now. I mean, Hayes is a great glove. Don't get me wrong, but the bat hasn't played. We have to hope sometime soon, like a bat in this organization could play at third base. And that is a hole in this organization, I think, as well. There's not really a lot of excitement. Like at the top of my head, the prospect that sticks out is Jack Brannigan, you would say. Like you have to, they went heavy third base this draft, and that's kind of a theme later down this episode. But Murf Gray, let's hear your thoughts. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, power bat, plays third base. I think he'll be able to stick there too. Got a good arm. The one, I mean, it's hard to judge guys like this coming out of a small conference like the Mountain West. We all kind of remember like the video game numbers that Nick Gonzalez put up in the Mountain West. So you kind of think of, it's different picking a guy out of Fresno State than it is picking a guy out of Arkansas, right? Which we'll get to that third baseman. So the numbers it's hard to look at the numbers and kind of compare it to everybody else. But I mean, for a third round, I mean, this was their comp pick, right? This is their second round comp pick.
Yeah, pick 73.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very high risk pick. This guy could completely bust. Like I said, those smaller conference guys, I have less faith in them. But but you can't argue with just the sheer power that he's put up, and he's done it his entire college career. He was freshman of the year in 2013, so he's been doing this for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the MLB draft too, a lot of these guys we see when they're drafted, you're like, who is that? Because you think college baseball isn't just promoted as good as it should be, but like it's fun doing the research after. And he was a fun name to look up. Like you brought up the Mountain West. It's something like, can they rake in the minors too? Like Nick Gonzalez was iffy in the minors still, but like he's productive now in the major leagues. He's looked like a good pick for now. But I'm intrigued by Murf Gray. I'm curious. Like I always judge what happens when they get to Altoona. I think that's mainly the proving ground because Greensboro is a boombox. So it's going to be curious to see what he will do if I would hope he gets to, but if he gets to Altoona, if he becomes a name to watch out for, like you think Mitch Jebb in this situation. I think Murf Gray is more intriguing than a Mitch Jebb just because of the power potential. But I mean, Mitch Jebb was a round 2 pick. But yeah, moving on to a guy that was their final pick in day 1 or night 1. Easton Carmichael, a catcher out of Oklahoma, 21 years old. So back-to-back catchers. Well, not catchers, but college bats per se. Scouting grades 50 hit, 45 power, 50 run, 50 arm, 50 fielding, another overall 45 on Fangraphs. Last year, it says he earned an All-Star Game MVP honors in the Cape Cod League last summer. Also, like I said, caught at Oklahoma. He led the Sooners in batting average of 329, slugging percentage 613, 80 hits, 62 RBIs, 4 triples, and 17 home runs in 2025. Scouts are saying he could be a guy who routinely could hit 15 to 20 at his ceiling. When I look at this pick, I kind of just envision a backup catcher. I mean, I would love to see him become someone. I'm not hating on this pick, but it's like I'm setting my standards kind of low for this one. It was their 93rd overall rank on Pipeline. Like I said, he was the 82nd overall pick in the draft. You want to hope he becomes someone because there's some okay catching depth in the organization right now, but I feel like it could be replenished pretty solidly. I think he could be a guy that's in the minor leagues for a while because you think of some of these catchers they have right now currently in the system. They've been there for a while. Not a lot of them move up quick, unlike Henry Davis or Endy Rodriguez per se. But yeah, what do you think about Easton Carmichael?
One of the better college catchers available in this draft. Like I said, got to the Pirates in the 3rd round. There are concerns that he's going to be able to catch. Like the arm doesn't seem to be the best. His receiving doesn't seem to be the best. And his blocking doesn't seem to be the best. So there's some work to be done there if they want to keep him at catcher. But if he doesn't stay a catcher, like the dude can hit. So he's got some I guess upside in that, like if the catching part fails, then you could always move him to like a first base or a corner outfield spot maybe. If he hits, like that's going to be his calling card. If this guy hits, they're going to figure out a place to put him. And yeah, as opposed to Murf Gray in the Mountain West, Easton Carmichael playing at Oklahoma, playing better competition. He raked at Oklahoma. So you got to hope that does translate a little bit. And the guy's got power. So we'll see if the catching continues to progress, but if it doesn't and the bat continues to stay ahead of the catching game, there's a good likelihood he gets moved, I think.
Yeah, you could say they rounded out day 1 with, I think it was an overall good day, good night, that is. Everyone could have some potential to influence the organization in a positive way, more so probably these 2 pitchers than the batters. But like still, I would say this to close out day 1, they picked 2 great baseball names for batters, Murf Gray and Easton Carmichael. I thought those were elite names, very piratey. Moving on, anything else before we move on to day 2?
No, I agree with you on the names though. Like Murf Gray,
Peak.
Easton, Easton. I mean, there you go. That's
it got even better on day 2. Starting out, so
Yeah.
we'll just kind of, if we want to alternate or take turns with like some of our picks that stood out day 2 because it was a busy day. These are guys that are just gonna like just you might not see in the major leagues, but there's some, you could say, hidden gems in here every so often. I was just keeping up with it at work. They started out with a guy that I'm actually kind of intrigued by. He was the best Puerto Rican prospect actually in this draft, Gustavo Melendez, another great baseball name in my opinion. A 45 overall grade, 55 hit, 40 power. He's a shortstop, so this is probably your light hitting middle infielder, but like still, he could be. I'm intrigued by him. I don't know what it is. I'm curious what he can become. I remember at the tailgate, I actually talked to Noah Hiles for a little bit, and I was bringing up like Japanese players, how you could get these guys to Pittsburgh hypothetically, because you remember they brought in Jung Ho Gung and all these guys, and he said if there's any pipeline they should be working on, it's Puerto Rico because of the legacy of Roberto Clemente. And you see it here. They get the best guy in the draft out of Puerto Rico because it says on Pipeline right here that Puerto Rican baseball scene hasn't produced many early round draft prospects in years, with only 4 players taken in the top 5 rounds in the last 5 drafts combined, which is a small list now led by Reds prospect Edwin Arroyo. So Melendez is joining that list. I think this is a fun pick. I'm going to be rooting for this guy. He's only 5'8". He's a small guy, 160. But like still, like they say he's a strong hitter from the left side. Any thoughts on Melendez?
I Puerto Rico's always been a spot where I feel like the Pirates should just like own, like plant your flag in Puerto Rico. So anytime you can get the #1 high school player from Puerto Rico, I'm all aboard. All aboard. And this guy's been playing high level baseball basically his whole life. He's been on Team USA national team since he was 12. So we're talking about a guy who has a ton of exposure against high level competition. Should stick a shortstop. And yeah, the bat just needs to continue to improve there. He's one of the younger players that were available in the draft. I'm excited about that one. Like I said, the Puerto Rican piece, I just feel like the Pirates and Puerto Rico have already shared this special relationship, and they just need to keep attacking that. So yeah. just a kind of a personal fun thing there that I think that they should do all the time. They should just always get the best Puerto Rican guy.
Yeah, they just make it a tradition. Like think you have to make a pipeline. This is how you get good in the international draft scene, because every year you think it's like, okay, who are we getting this year? And it's like you have guys from all these countries down in the Caribbean, like Dominican Republic, cool. PR, cool. But like when you can draft a guy out of the Puerto Rico in the MLB draft, I think that's big for the organization. You're kind of just setting your foot down. It's like, this is going to be our territory when it comes like other MLB teams. You're setting an example for future young guys down in Puerto Rico. It's like, we're going to be looking at you. If you want to be a Pittsburgh Pirate, we're going to do our best to make that. And that's I think that's kind of a stepping stone for the organization as a whole. You have to promote the future of the game in these areas too. They love baseball down in Puerto Rico. I'll shoot it over to you, Jim, as we move on. Give me a name that you liked.
I liked the 10th round pick, Matt King out of Arizona State. Transfer from UTSA, senior. So, he's a little bit older, but you kind of look at these later rounds and you get these seniors for really low slots, so that way you can kind of put some money in other places. But this is a guy who I feel like he was playing in a smaller school, put up good numbers, transferred to Arizona State, and just broke out at Arizona State. He hit 403. Slugged 593, didn't strike out like at all. Walked a good bit. Not like a ton of power, but probably going to switch off shortstop and go to second base. But like I said, a little bit older. He turns 23 next month. But like, he's a guy who I feel like, from a contact standpoint, you look at like what Deuce Gorson's doing this year. At Greensboro, and then he just got the promotion to Altoona. This strikes me as someone who kind of could be an under the radar guy like that, where he just hits the ground running and it just hits.
Yeah. I will say day 2 was very heavy when it came to college hitters in these late rounds. Like you said, these are where you kind of get these seniors. I want to talk briefly about one more guy for me, one more guy for you, then just a funny one at the end for your guys down in Louisville. But yeah, the next guy I want to talk about, I brought it up briefly. Their round 7 pick, Brent Irdale out of Arkansas. You bring up the SEC. He's an Australian third baseman. He started out at New Mexico Junior College, the Thunderbirds, before transferring. And at that college, he slashed 437, 543, 925 with 42 home runs and 40 steals. Sure, you're playing for the Thunderbirds. I mean, good for him. But then he transferred to Arkansas, and the scouts really like the power. He's at a 55. The hit tool, however, is 10 points below that at a 45. So this seems to be like a power over hit type of player. We've been begging for a guy that can hit for power out of third base. Is he going to be that guy to mash at the major leagues? I don't think so. But like, it's just an intriguing prospect. I'm excited to follow. 50 arm, but his fielding's kind of iffy to a lot of scouts. He's at a 45 and overall 40. I think this is just the perfect 7th round pick. He's going to be in the minor leagues probably for a while. And heck, this could be a guy they just flip randomly in the offseason at the trade, like a trade. Like you think like how they got Chase Shugart, like Vigortsky or whatever his name was. Like some of these guys are probably going to be that type of player that just randomly gets flipped out of nowhere. He could be that guy, but still, like, I kind of want to see this guy succeed. I love the international guys, and it's always cool to like root for the Australian guys in the system. So he's going to be an intriguing name, in my opinion. Any thoughts on Iredale?
I think the one thing that they did, like when you're looking at team needs, like the one thing this team does need is power, and they picked some guys with some power later in this draft. Again, all of these guys have some serious questions. Like with Iredale in particular, the swing and miss stuff is certainly a concern, but tons of raw power. So yeah, you hope that you can just kind of continue to tap into that. If you can get the contact rate a little bit better, he could turn into something. Again, like a guy who played similar to how we talked about with Matt King before. Junior college guy, one of the top junior college guys in the country last year, goes to Arkansas, so facing much steeper competition, and everything still translated really well with the step up in competition. So he had a good year, and yeah, we'll see if it translates to the majors.
Yeah, you bring up the SEC. You bring up the SEC being a really good conference. I know I told you could pick another guy. I'm hoping it's the guy I'm thinking of because I do want to talk about him. I'm hoping you're saying who I think it's going to be. So
yeah, we're definitely going to talk about Jared Jones.
Yeah,
9th round pick out of LSU. He was kind of the heart and soul of that LSU team the last 2 years. I mean, just powerhouse teams. Major power. You could, I mean, some scouts say that he has the best power of anybody in this entire draft. That's the type of bat you got here. Now, major contact issues though. Striking out 29% chase rate in college is kind of absurd. A 70% contact rate in college, not ideal, not what you're looking for. So this is going to be, I don't know, if you're looking for like the most Brad Eldred type guy, this is it. Like this guy could hit 50 bombs in Greensboro, but he could also strike out 200 times. That's the type of guy that you're drafting here. The power is extremely legit though. So if he can make contact enough, he's going to hit a ton of homers. The contact is going to be the main piece here and the main thing to watch as he progresses through the system, because that is the reason why he dropped to the 9th round. Yeah. Best power in the draft, 9th round pick. Major flaw in his game. Yeah,
when we brought up the power, Pipeline had him as the 101st overall prospect. Pirates got him at 263rd overall. It was a very messy day too for a lot of teams when it came to these college guys. But his hit total compared to his power is at a 60. Which is probably the highest they drafted in this entire class. His hit total, 45. So they are banking on the power being his calling card. Like, if I'm thinking of a guy in the major leagues and what he could become, like, I hope he doesn't become this guy in the major leagues, but I'm just trying to explain, like, power over anything else. Could this just be, like, Jack Sawinski or Joey Gallo? Like, is that what you were kind of explaining here? Like, I hope not, but it's like, power over everything. Like,
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he's more Joey Gallo than Jack
That's what
Sawinski.
I'm hoping too.
I think, but yeah, like I think that's what you're looking at here. Like if everything works out, he's probably a guy who's going to strike out 35% of the time or more. But when he hits the ball, it's going to go over the fence.
Yeah, he's a 2-time College World Series champ at LSU. Played with Paul Skeens. So, he's in the same organization. I joked, it's funny. I tweeted literally a month ago. Baseball America posted their rankings, best college hitters, and I joked is like the Pirates should take Jared Jones just so they can have another Jared Jones. And I tweeted when I was at work when it happened. I was like, "You have got to be kidding me! They actually did this." Jared Jones tweeted about it. I forget what he said at the top of my head, but he was just like glad to have another one of us in the organization. He seems to love it. I'm rooting for this guy. I mean, I'm just on a CBS Sports article. They have a long-term outlook, and this makes sense for him as a DH isn't really out of the question. They have his fielding on Pipeline. This is another issue at a 40. So maybe that's why a lot of people are thinking he could be a long-term DH type. First baseman with a 40 scout grade on fielding kind of makes me not intrigued, but makes me nervous. It's going to they've had some okay defense at the spot right now with Horwitz, and he's kind of locked in for now at first base. But if this is your guy in the future, if his power lives up to it, this might just be one of those, I hope, Joey Gallo over Jack Sawinski types where you're going to be like, he's hitting all these nukes, he's fun to watch, but then you're going to have the portion of the fan base, like they are with Cruz, sadly, and then say, oh, he strikes out too much, he stinks. Yeah,
here's what we need to hope for, Nathan, is that the swing off becomes a thing.
Yeah.
Jared Jones could be a swing off specialist. That's what we need.
I want you to think of the three we could have in that. O'Neal Cruz on his 10th year of his contract, mega deal. Jared Jones hitting 70 bombs, and Connor Griffin becoming the next Mike Trout mixed with Bobby Witt Jr.
There you go.
That's the group. But yeah, I'm excited for this pick, especially if it gets to Greensboro. Like we know, it's a boombox. But his test is going to be Altoona, because we all know that's where a lot of these bats get tested, especially when it comes to power. Like I'm excited to see. Like I'm curious when Termar is going to get up to Indy, but like Altoona, when he got there, it kind of took a little bit of testing for him. Because that's where the long ball starts to die. That is definitely, in my opinion, a pitcher's paradise for the minor leagues. But Jared Jones, I'm curious about it. He's going to be one of these prospects that I think could this, I don't want to run long, but could this be like the Mason Martin type? Remember him?
Absolutely.
Everyone fell in love with Mason Martin. Now he's just the indie baseball god.
Yep. It's a good comp.
Same position. First base, once he hits Altoona in Indianapolis, is like, you're just stuck there. It could also be like a Matt Gorski type. So I don't want to get our hopes up with this one. It's just fun. Closing this out, I do want you to add your expertise. So you're a Louisville baseball guy living down in Kentucky. They went with Louisville outfielder. You were excited about this in our chats. Eddie King Jr. Let me just say that's a great name for baseball. Round 16, pick 473. Should we be excited? 17 home runs, 63 RBIs.
Led the ACC in slugging this year. The guy has major power. I'll say this about Eddie King Jr. He's fun. He's a fun guy to watch. I went to every single home postseason game. Watched the regionals in Nashville against Vanderbilt. Watched the College World Series. I mean, Eddie King Jr. single-handedly basically carried Louisville to Omaha this year. Dominated Vanderbilt, dominated Miami, dominated Oregon State. He walked off Oregon State. Like, the guy was just like built for that big moment, and he delivered seemingly every single time. Fan favorite, like I said, people are going to love him. Every time he step up the bat, you got Eddie. You got the Eddie chants going. No, I'm a big fan though. Obviously, swing and misses is the concern here. Position flexibility isn't great. I mean, he's a corner outfielder, but plays it fairly well. But power, that's kind of the calling card of a lot of the guys in the later part of this draft is power, and that's what he's got.
I will say this is probably the one Pirates draft in a while that's been the most intriguing when it comes to the day 2 picks. And that's not just recency bias. Like we just talked about Jared Jones. You have a guy with 60 pipe like power based off scouts on pipeline. Like they trust the power. Eddie King Jr., just how you're explaining him to me, like energy, fan favorite. You know who he kind of reminds me of? A current guy. He's not on the
Who's
team
that?
anymore. Joshua Palacios.
You know what? That's yeah.
Could
He's
he be
very
that
very
spark plug?
Joshua Palacios characteristics. Yeah.
Like he doesn't seem like a guy that could be like this everyday major leaguer, but it's like a guy that you're gonna be wanting to root for. He might be like one of these guys that takes a while to get to the major leagues, but it's like you are rooting for this guy through and throughout. I'm excited for him just based off how you explained it. It's going to be interesting, like where they start a lot of these guys. Like you would think maybe some of their top bats maybe just go to high A right off the bat. Maybe I don't know Greensboro. Maybe the only guy that could go to Greensboro that early might be Murf Gray, possibly maybe Carmichael. But yeah, overall thoughts, I guess, like if we want to give like a favorite pick not named Seth Hernandez, and then an overall grade for this draft. I'll start with you. I mean, you could say Seth Hernandez if you
Favorite.
want to take the cheap way, but
Yeah, I'm gonna say favorite pick, not named Seth Hernandez. I'm a big fan of the second round pick with Angel Cervantes, but I'm gonna skip down to that fourth pick, the fourth round pick of Gustavo Melendez. Like I said, one of the youngest guys in the draft, best player out of Puerto Rico, has played at high level competition for 6 years now. Someone who he's probably going to start in the complex league. Going to take a lot of time. Again, he just turned 17, but he's played against good competition up to this point. And that's the one thing you're always kind of leery about when it comes to high school players is like how good is the competition. Well, this guy's been in major showcases against the best players in the world for a while. So yeah, I'm going with the shortstop, fourth round pick, Gustavo Melendez.
yeah, currently committed to Wake Forest. I don't think they're going to have to worry about him going to college there. I think he's going to become a Pirate pretty quick. I think they're going to make it happen. My favorite pick was going to be Gustavo Melendez, but you took it. I mean, I'm just excited to see what he kind of reminds me of like these random, like remember Shaylin Polanco? It's always that guy who's like, I wonder where he is right now. I think Melendez is going to be that guy. He's going to be better than Polanco, I think. But it's like you're just every year checking up on him, saying like, how's he doing this year? What are you doing down there in the minor leagues? Where are you at? Like you said, it's going to be a long time before he makes it. I mean, he has a lot to work on. Like he's still only 17 years old. But like my favorite pick, when you said fourth overall, I thought you were gonna say Carmichael. But like, I mean, that was only day one. I'm gonna go with day one pick, and I'm biased because I like the name Murf Gray. I don't know what it is. I'm very curious to see how he can translate the Mountain West Conference to minor league baseball and hopefully Major League Baseball, like Nick Gonzalez has. We've started to see Nick Gonzalez, for example, like I said, he raked the year like COVID year. Then he got drafted, lost the year of development, and then he had to work his way back up. High strikeout rates, but it's been getting a lot better, especially now. His hit toll, he's been clutch. I'm wondering if Murf Gray can be that type of guy, but with more pop. And especially if he can play third base, he's 6'4", a bigger guy, 230 pounds. Could this be the guy, maybe the predecessor to a Brian Hayes, especially if he has the the skill to hit the long ball? Because when I look at the third baseman in the organization, like we both said, this draft they went heavy third base and a lot of outfielders. This is probably like we didn't talk about many pitchers in this draft besides the first two, and they had a couple interesting guys in the later rounds. But like they went heavy offense with these college guys, and I'm happy they took more of the offensive side in college when it came to their bats instead of like the high school bats this time around, because I think they know as an organization they are lacking in the hitting department when it comes to an organizational need. And we say we don't draft for the need here, but I think they might have actually did that to kind of just boost the organization a little bit. They didn't draft for the major leagues. They drafted just kind of like replenish positions that they needed, like third base. So I'm very intrigued to see how the top third baseman they got, Murf Gray, is going to pan out. But yeah, I'm excited about him. I'm excited to see, like, could he be like a 20 home run max guy? I would love that for third base. We haven't seen that since Pedro days, basically, since Jung Ho Gung, I think, at the top of my head. But it's like, man, this draft, if I'm grading it, I'll just go first. I'm giving it an overall A, not being biased or anything, maybe B plus. Like, I don't think they made bad picks. I think they made a lot of intriguing picks on day 2 that kind of carry it too. I mean, getting Seth Hernandez, like we talked about for a while, at the 6th overall pick was probably one of the biggest steals of this draft. Just when you saw the top 6, how it was shaken out of the 5 before him, you had a feeling like, oh my gosh, he's actually going to fall to the Pirates and they can develop pitchers. I'll go just A in general, leaning A minus. But yeah, I'm going to grade the draft that. I liked it.
It's hard to argue with you. I mean, anytime you can get what many are saying is the most talented guy in the draft at number 6, you've got to give him a good grade. I'm not super intrigued by like I mean, who knows what some of these later guys do. I do like that they went after power. There was another pitcher here that we didn't even talk about, Connor Hamilton, the 14th round. I like the high school arms that they went after. I guess just to not say the same thing as you, I'll go A minus, just because I mean they probably could have gone a little bit better later on, but to me the most important pick in this draft was that 6th pick, and they nailed it. So they nailed the pick. It's a good draft by my book. Just the rest of it, honestly, pick whoever you think is the best guy available at that point. But getting Hernandez at 6 was a pretty big win for me.
And I'm hoping in years to come, we'll be talking about these guys being the difference makers, that just talking about them could be. I'm hoping Jared Jones is in the big leagues mashing home runs with Jared Jones pitching on the mound at the exact same time. That would be something else. But yeah, Jim, you want to tell everyone where they can find your stuff? I know I explained at the beginning, but if you want to reiterate it.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter. It's at Northside Notch. But also the North Shore 9 podcast. You can look us up on YouTube or wherever your favorite podcast platform is. Daily Pirates content on all of our platforms. So follow us, check us out.
Okay, well, thank you all for watching. You know where to subscribe to them at North Shore 9. You know down to subscribe down below to this channel if you just love baseball, love the Pirates, etc. Thank you all for watching. I'm Nathan. That's Jim over there. Maybe you'll be back sometime soon. We'll have maybe some other special guests. But that was the Pirates draft, our recap. Thank you all for watching. Have a good one.